Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my OG, got me locked in on cup, though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my OG, got me locked in on cup, though. Got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my OG, got me locked in on cup, though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my OG, got me locked in on cup, though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my OG, got me locked in on cup, though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my OG, got me locked in on cup, though.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Bonnar, but Boromant's got the inside.
Star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin to lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
There we go. Welcome, one and all. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier Sim Gaming League's Commentators Christmas Special. It's like that one episode, that one extra episode of the show. It's just when you think it's finished, no, we've got that little extra, that little bit more, just something a little bit more fun tonight. So welcome, everyone. Welcome. It is something different we're offering tonight. I am joined in the commentary box. It's not just me. I'm joined by Golf King. How are you doing, mate? How are you feeling about tonight?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, looking really forward to this. Obviously, first ever one I've ever done with yourself. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what the comms guys have got on track.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because obviously everyone comes from different backgrounds. Like everyone has got different levels of experience in the game, and whether you're commentating F6, F2, or anything in between, you have different walks of life. So it's kind of interesting to see, like, for all of everyone's different walks. Like, to be honest, I would just be out and saying, I'm glad I'm in the commentary box for this one because I would royally embarrass myself. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'd race it anyway, but I'm not quick, so I would not want to be holding people up. But no, I think it'll be a really good night for these guys as well, and yeah, looking forward to it. Really forward to it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's certainly going to be great fun. I'm looking forward to it. Looking at the driver lineup side of things, we have got quite the selection, quite the eclectic selection. So we've got, for example, we've got a few key commentators from the higher tiers coming in. So we've got Nathan Richardson, the Williams. We've got Jess and James, say commentary duo, who are sticking together, always got each other's backs on the Red Bull team. We've got Danfield on the Mercedes team. But they're looking at the rest. We've got Rando. Shout out to my man in Irish Collegiate Esports. Love that guy. Great fun. We've got Deflink joining him in the Alfa Romeo team. We've got Evan Dalton along with King Kodiak in the Alpha Tauri. King Kodiak jumping in the last minute and has DM'd me to say he is going for the Wooden Spoon Award. But like we say, all in good fun. Ira Bryn Mike and Joshua Griffin Meek coming in on the Alpine team. J. Cole and Freestyler in the Aston Martin. Zataxter and Katie in the Ferraris. Iron, with great racer and turned commentator, returning from the shadows along with Attacker Logan, Max Ring, and I'm bad at F1 Quinn. We'll see how true that name is, alongside a few others like Byron Hell recently joining us, and TDB coming in on the Williams. Tell me, Golfing, anyone you see in particular out of that list who you want to keep an eye on?
To be honest with you, I've got no idea. In a nutshell, I have no idea. I'm very new to PSGL, and like I've said to Big C Connor himself that I love the opportunity. But I've done commentating with Ivor Brim Mike. I've done a bit of commentating with Logan, and obviously I think it's Ivan Dalton as well. I've watched a few of his streams and some of his TikToks. So they're the three that I know. So probably they will be the three that I'll watch out for. As I don't want to single anyone out because I don't know them, but yeah, I'll be watching out for everyone. I'll be watching out for all the action.
Yeah, I'm looking out for a few of these folks in the group here. So I can see Nathan popping up in the chat, certainly laying his claim down early, saying he's going for the win, and we're looking forward to seeing some of the fighting coming out on track. So we got some of the drivers. So Jess obviously has made some big strides in the racing scene, has done some really great racing work in the other leagues around the scene. We've got Danfield, who is another one that has been gunned for in terms of a driver to watch. I've seen a few other drivers. I know, for instance, Max Ring coming in from a few other leagues, has some league racing experience too. And then a few more around the scene, like Rando, work with in another, say, in a collegiate level. And I know that he races, and it's going to be pretty awesome to see. But it's quite an eclectic selection, and it is kind of bizarre. It's like, who watches the watchers? Because we saw this announcement coming out on Twitter, or X as you call it, and I think the first question that a lot of people came up with was like, well, if the commentators are racing, who's commentating? Obviously we came out the woodwork, didn't we?
Yeah, well, I had to put my name down. I was like, I'm not gonna race because I'm rubbish. I'm clean, but yeah, not fast. And I thought, yeah, why not get some more experience and get in the comms box.
It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. And we've got a little bit different in terms of how this is going to run tonight. So, for one, we have 2 races tonight, and we're only going to be running quali from the first one. So the first track, as you may have spotted on the graphic, and if you follow us on our social media, make sure you do that. Go PSGL, all socials. But our first track is going to be none other than Brazil. What a track to start off with. 25% length qualifying, single session, and then the results, I believe, from race 1 are going to carry over into race 2. What's your opinions here on the Brazilian circuit?
A great track. A lot of places to overtake. Obviously, a lot of places to invalidate as well, and obviously get track penalties as well in that sector. In that sector 1, coming down the hill into that first sector. And yeah, it's an interesting one. You're either going to be quick or you're going to be slow. It's one of those tracks where, depending on setup of how it works, yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun though, especially going down that last sector of 3, going up that long straight where we saw obviously Alonso and Perez near probably have one of the closest finishes this season in the F1. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to it. It's going to be a lot of overtakes and yeah, a lot of battling.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We'll say 2.7 miles, 4.3 kilometers, 15 corners. Really, the places you've got to be keeping your whereabouts are on turn 1. Just coming out of the first, well, yeah, technically first DRS zone, coming out of there. So you've got the double left-hander, fairly high speed, but you do have to slow down for turns 4 and 5. And we do see a little bit of heroics coming through, say the likes of turn 10, turn 8 as well. We do see a little bit of heroics, but that's less often. We generally see that a little bit less often. And really where it's at is, as you say, with some of the battles we've had in our real life counterpart in the past, where it's at is the first start finish straight in that first corner, because it's a difficult one. I haven't driven it that much myself, but certainly trying to nail down some hot laps, getting that downhill left-hander right, especially as you can feel the car in some instances falling away from you. It's a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. No, like you're saying in that first corner, because you've got to really be careful when you're coming down that main straight, getting onto the brakes to get that first corner right. Because if you don't, it's very, very easy to get a track penalty and invalidate, and then you then get into the second part of the DRS as well. And you can actually invalidate on the second part of the DRS coming onto the turn 2, where you've got to come over to the left-hand side and then go up the hill, and then you've got to be careful not to lose the back end, coming round into the windy right, going into sector 3. So there's a few places where it can be quite tricky, but straight line speed is a big one here, obviously, especially down that sector 3, and also into that first DRS zone as well. There's a lot of places to overtake, so it should be fun. I think the guys will be going up against each other, and they'll be trying to get that first corner, first turn, and try and get the momentum going into the race from there on in.
Yeah, the momentum is really going to be the kicker. I say if you get a good exit out of turn 14, you can kind of set yourself up for a really good next lap, especially if you're in the DRS for the first zone. So we're going to definitely see a little bit of chess coming into play. It's not the level of DRS chicken we see at places like Jeddah with the double consecutive zones, but we are definitely going to see drivers potentially being a little bit more strategic with their placement, because it's all too easy, I think, to get caught up in the racing aspect and just go for overtake. You see overtake, go for it. But the nuances, and I always say this when I'm commentating leagues, is the nuance comes from knowing when to overtake, not just taking every single opportunity.
No, that is right. You wanna try and get the momentum of the race for starting off with, and then start making the overtakes slowly, because yeah, if you spin, you don't want to be at the back of this race. It can be very, very painful going on if you spin very, very early on or have an accident. You just gotta get the momentum, see where everyone's at in regards to pace wise, and then start challenging.
Yeah, find your place, find your challenge, and look for the opportunities you have. So that is where we stand. We are just dealing with a couple of technical issues with the game at the moment, trying to get everybody into the lobby, because they seem to be having a little bit of, shall we say, hiccups. It might be a case of me having to restart my game as well, because the game is not being the most cooperative at the moment, and that seems to be a rolling case with a lot of our drivers. But yeah, just as a refresher, folks, before we jump into the things, these are your drivers. This is your driver list, who to expect. Let us know in the chat who you're going to be rooting for, and of course you're going to have some great racing as always tonight. So I am going to quickly restart my game while we do this, and we are going to potentially have a very large noise, and that is the F1 intro. I do apologize. See if we can dodge the very loud F1 intro that cannot be muted. I think we got it. Yeah, just a couple minutes away, folks. I know. Who would you put your money on, Golf? If you had to pick one driver, I know you said earlier you're a little bit limited on your experience, but based on the chat, based on what you can see, who have you got your eye on, at least in qualifying or the race, either or?
Oh, Jesus. I really wouldn't know. James Head, maybe, probably. I know he's very high up there in the tiers of the commentating. Obviously, F1. I reckon, yeah, he'd be one. Yeah, I really wouldn't know. It's like it's the blind leading the blind with me, unfortunately, tonight, because I don't know any of these guys apart from the three I told you, so I wouldn't know. I'll pick someone random. I'll just go down my phone and I'll go, right, that one, Deathlink 10. There you go. I'll go with that person. It'd be funny if they win, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I'll say that would be the prediction of all time for sure. Me personally, I am looking at. It's a toss-up for me. It's between Nathan, because he'd get annoyed at me if I didn't. It's a toss-up for me between Nathan, Dan, and Jess, because I know that they both have exploits inside and outside of the track in terms of they have plenty of experience. They have had their fair share of racing, and if I had to lean towards anyone, I think I'll be on. I think I'm leaning towards Jess here, because she has done really well in other competitions and a lot of other races around the league scene. So I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye on how she does here, how she fares on track. But either way, we are back in the lobby now. We should be getting into things very, very shortly.
Yeah, I've actually heard a lot of things about her as well, so I think, yeah, she could be one as well. I'm not going to steal the limelight from you. I'm still going to go with Deathlink. I'm going to go with my random selection and see what happens. It's like Secret Santa, isn't it? You don't know who you're going to get, but there you go. We'll go with Deathlink.
The Christmas spirit is here in full force, and we are getting everyone in the new lobby now. And then, to quote Dan Field, I need a wee. So, gonna be a couple of minutes more, and then we will be trackside in Interlagos. Actually, what do you think the weather's gonna be like? I don't know. I don't know if they've set the weather for the event.
Yeah, that's
I hear clear weather,
one, isn't it?
Clear weather.
Oh, okay.
No rain.
Well, there you go.
No rain. Sad. I don't know. I think rain could have been an amazing equalizer. I'm always a sucker for a wet race. I don't know about you. I'm an absolute sucker for a wet race.
Unless you're going to sit up, I'm okay. If you don't, then no, I'm not. But the thing is with Brazil, like in league racing as well, that it normally rains a lot, doesn't it? You normally get a lot of wet tracks in Brazil. Same with Austria as well, especially at the end of the race as well, and it is not a nice place to race in a wet. It's extremely slippery, especially in those really tough turns. In turn one as well, you can easily slide onto the gravel or onto the grass very easy. And yeah, you've got to get your setup spot on in Brazil if it's wet.
Yeah, it is a case of setup, but it's also kind of a skill check. I know I've seen in the past some drivers seem to really come alive in the wet in a way that you don't always get the opportunity to see. I think there is definitely something to be said about setup, having your car a little bit more pliable, a little bit more softly sprung, maybe not running as low to the ground, but it does mean you have a little bit more flexibility, because these F1 cars, as much as the handling model has developed in the new game, as much as it has become a little bit easier to drive, these things still bite. These still bite hard. If you don't treat these cars with respect, they will not hesitate to make your rear wing double as an aileron as it's going backwards.
Yes, no, you're right. You're 100% right, and I think that's the question, isn't it? That's the one that you've got to watch out for. You've got to be careful that you've got your setup right. Obviously, going into the race, then everyone obviously knows where it sits at the moment, don't they? You know, they know that it's going to be a dry race. So yeah, I think because if you don't, then you could lose the back end. You know, you've got to get the arrows right. Especially to turn to sector 2 for me is a really difficult one. You know, if you don't get the setup right, then it'll be an extremely painful race. But I'm sure these guys will get it right. I'm sure they'll get the arrows, the fronts, and the tyre pressures as well. You don't want those tyres to burn off really quickly, because then you'll be going into the pits pretty quick as well. But yep, no, I think everyone will get their setup right.
Yeah, well, we're just about to jump in now. People are readying up, and we, as a reminder, folks, we're heading to Interlagos. It's 25% qualifying, short qualifying, single session, and then we'll be jumping into the race. And then race 2 is going to be influenced by race 1 in terms of results. We're not going to be running a second qualifying session for race 2, so keep that in mind. And with that being said, we're about to get into the running, good and proper. You can hear the timer going down just in the background. It's the PSGL Christmas Commentators Cup, and we're about to go trackside with the entire commentary team at the wheel. Let's see what happens when the commentators become the racers. Who's going to come out on top? Let's see. All right, we are just loading in now. I think we should have more events like this.
Yeah, they're cool, aren't they? They are really cool. Like, it gets people going, you know, it's things different. It puts people in the Christmas spirit. It's actually my birthday on Sunday anyway, so that puts people in the Christmas spirit even more. Yeah, I know. I feel sorry for my mum. I'm still a kid at heart.
Alrighty, well, we are trackside, folks. It is clear and sunny here in Brazil, and we are jumping in trackside. We're about to get away. Remember, 17 minutes, 45 seconds. That is all the drivers have. So that's, what, give or take 4 good runs? I want to say 4.
Depends on how many you invalidate.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true.
Yeah, 17 minutes. That's you're probably about right. Yeah, 40 minutes. I've already seen here though, Saffron, that Deathlink is P1 already.
Oh, well, and we got immediately a disqualification. People apparently are blocking the pit lane or coming out. So, not sure what's happened there. I'm very confused.
Yeah, it's like,
very
Byron,
confused here.
Or someone spun.
Yeah, I think they spun in the pit lane and then they're blocking, and there you go. There's Max and Byron already out of running, and we are not having lobby restarts after Brazil, so that is kind of going to be a bit of a kicker. Due to the starting delays, we are not going to be having opportunities for restarts, but We are going to be on board with our first driver. Immediately going to be setting out. They've got a Haas behind them. I think that's the Haas of... who is that out there? No, that is Iron. But we're on with, I want to say, Timon. I'm probably completely butchering that, and I apologize in advance. But here we go. Let's hop on board, and let's see what they can do.
Yeah.
I say Thyman. Let's go with Thyman then. But either way, they're doing a really good job. So turn 4 and coming through turn 5 now. So they've got to be carrying a bit of the speed. A little bit, so shallow, but they're setting themselves up for the second sector here. Now, this is kind of the skill check of the circuit. It's about getting the right lines. You've got undulation on the ground. You've got tight corner after tight corner. So you've really got to balance yourself on the edge of grip. Be willing to push. Know when to brake. A little bit wide on some of the apexes, but they are still carrying some good speed through. Thyman is going to be taking the benchmark of the lap and is going to be setting the pace for the rest of the drivers out on field. We've got both Hasses out on track just behind. You see Thyman coming around fast. Final straight here is going to be a 108.584. Is anyone going to topple it? Iron now coming through. 109.2. Doesn't make a touch on it. Not just yet anyway. You've got James, who's about to cross over. Final straight here as well in the Red Bull. Third driver on the field. They're going to be a 109.2 as well, just overtaking Iron by 3 milliseconds. But so far, no dice. Evan Dalton, 108.9. You got Aston Martin. I believe that is Epic. Yes, it is. Epic is coming through. And now it's going to be a 110. But interestingly, on mediums, I think that might have been a setup mistake. Nathan coming in, P3. 108.965, just 17 milliseconds behind Evan. 1 and 3 for Williams so far. At least the introduction of this session is looking pretty strong for the Williams suit. J. Cole on the Inters. Very bizarre.
Yeah, no, I've seen the guys do it before. They go on the Inters, obviously do the first lap, then go back in and then get some idea of the traction and pace that they've got, and then they'll have a spin on the yeah, no, that's a pretty good lap there on the 110. Still a lot of people to come through though from P8 all the way down to P17 still set. You've got 2 Hasses now, which is Logan across the line. He goes P6, so really good job there, like you said, by the Williams and the Hasses and Iron and Logan there. And you've got one more Aston Martin to come round, which is an unfortunate invalidation, a few invalidations, but there you go, look straight into the pits. And it looks like what's next? Could be an Alfa Tauri, which is an invalidation, and a Ferrari, which is going quite slow, which has actually had a bit of a spin in sector 2, and then you've also got another Ferrari in Zatakaska. I think I said that right. Do apologise if I haven't. Crossing the line and stays P9. So yeah, starting to get some times done, but the top 3 are one above the rest at the moment. Saffron?
Well, I say KD is having a little bit of a struggle, it seems, really struggling to get the traction down, and I believe that is yeah, maybe a little bit of a setup issue, because they seem to be, yeah, I think they're struggling to get a bit of the power down. Maybe something's gone wrong there. And we are seeing a few more drivers coming out now, so we're on board with Jess, who is going to be starting their first full core lap and is going to be a driver to watch here. So let's see kind of speeds they can hit. 195, nearly 200. Yep, 201 miles an hour coming down into turn 4, and that is going to be a pretty good speed benchmark. I think one of the fastest in the session according to my speed trap data. Here we go, second sector now. Set themselves up, stay wide, a little bit on the curb. Nicely done through the apex there. A little bit wide on the left-hander, but it's keeping it together nicely. Now, coming through, say turns 11 down the hill, and 12, 13, 14, 15 to come. Very nicely rotated. A little bit too much rotation, unfortunately. That is going to lose them a lot of exit speed. And that is going to be a death knell for their lap here. So coming across to the final straight and then across the line. It's still a solid time. It is going to be P8, but it is 11.139. So they're quite a world away from some of the top runners, and especially at the 108.9s and 0.5s that we are seeing at the peak of the field. In Kodiak is going to be another driver who's coming up to finish their lap very soon. Car's looking a little bit dirty. Maybe had a couple of excursions off of the track as you just had one of the Ferraris. That's KD coming 108.9 as well, going to be joining the Sacred 108 Club. And Kodiak now coming down the final corner and the straight, looking like a fairly decent lap. 210 miles an hour. So definitely gone for high speed with the setup on their AlphaTauri, but 13.4 is all they're going to be able to muster, as I believe that was Rando coming in 109.4 on you, mate.
Yeah, some good times there still in the 109s. We've got 3 guys left, JM and Vincent and Bryn Mike there on the outlap at the moment, both of these guys. But Menzinta in the Mercedes, he's coming around into Sector 2 now, going up the hill as the lovely Sector 3 goes on to the DRS. Very, very powerful sector here. Get as much speed as you can. Some people decide to hug the left, some people decide to hug the right. So it's a bit of a mixture there, but he then does 1.10.933. So a good time there, puts himself into P10. And then we've got the last 2, which is actually the last 2 Alpines there.
Yeah, that's both Alpines, but yeah, that's Menta aka Dan Field, 110.9. So the only drivers who have yet to set a time are, as you say, both Alpines. JGM both, say, having a little bit of a struggle for grip and invalidating their lap by going off track. Iver Mike also having a similar story to tell, but you are seeing a little bit of movement up. AMS Epic just came through, 108.7. They put themselves on the front row. You've got a couple of others also about to come through and make a few improvements. I believe that's Evan Dalton, but he's invalidated his lap, unfortunately. He is not going to be coming away with a fresh time. And I think everyone is going to be heading into the pits by this point. They're going to be setting up for their next runs.
Yeah, and they're talking about the Alpine that have just jumped on board. They've both actually invalidated both of their laps. So is this a long time that they've played this game or gone back into having a race? Because they've both done exactly the same thing, both invalidated, unfortunately. Still have 8 minutes to set times, but looks like one of them's gone into the pits and the other one is on a lap, which is either Bryn Mike. So he comes out and he's invalidated as soon as he's even just got around in the first turn, unfortunately. So he's going to have to start again, and looks like they're struggling. But as you said, movement at the front, and there's also more movement at the front. Jay Cole has put himself into P3 there behind his teammate in AMSM Epic. So 108, I think, is the time to beat.
108 is certainly the benchmark. That's where everyone wants to aim. And honestly, it's Nathan Richards and Deathlink. Oh, your prediction might be coming to pass, mate. 108.3. Yeah, 108 is definitely your safe haven. If nothing else, a low 0.9 will see you around mid-pack. It will keep you in the action. But yeah, Deathlink coming out of nowhere with a stellar lap. They're putting themselves slap bang top of grid, and that is something to definitely write home about. Logan just finished their lap up. Unfortunately, no improvements to be seen. It's a 112, and they're not going to be walking away with a new time on the field thus far. Nathan had a chance to go again, but they've lost their front wing, so I think they made a mistake early on in their run, and that's not boded well, because now they're effectively on their last chance. P7 still a strong spot, but going to be a tough act to follow, and with that much pressure riding on a single run to improve, you got certainly a struggle on the mental. And I think sometimes people often forget the mental pressure and how that can affect your driving.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Because you don't want to be making the mistakes in the same areas again. You know, we've seen obviously the Alpine guys validate, and then obviously we hopefully get around and get a lap, because it's success if you get around and get a lap. But yeah, making mistakes. Obviously we saw, like you said, Nathan, no front wing, and then obviously we've got attacker Logan, who's just validated, unfortunately. He was on the lap, so he's going to start again. Iron is on the lap at the moment. His teammate coming round. There's a lot of traffic in front of him though. Looks like he's got Alpine and Al Williams. This is going to be a really, really good slipstream though. I've got to say this. He's going to get a fantastic slipstream going through at sector 3 down the man straight. Here we go. 25% DRS. Does that push him up a little bit more? He pushes his time up, but he stays exactly where he is. So not an improvement from him. Unwise going up the grid, but an improvement on his time there.
Yeah, it is an improvement, as you say, but not enough to make a meaningful difference on the timescales. Well, with Jess now, P13, 111.139. Remember, 109 is kind of your safe zone, and it's going to make sure that you stick in the heat of the pack. But we do have Rando, I think. That was just Rando coming through with a 109.3, so they are going to be slotting themselves in. Emma Dalton, 108.4, so they're going to be usurping the front row spot from Diamond. And KD, 108 flat, 108.009 in the Ferrari. This has all come to a head all at once. We've got another AlphaTauri coming through. King Kodiak, I think, about to start a lap after an invalidation. And then Jess is going to be coming as well down the start-finish straight. What is it going to be? It's looking strong. It's looking like a mighty improvement. 1.3 seconds. Only enough for a single place, but still very good improvements to see.
Yeah, no, starting to see track starting to warm up now, getting a lot more temperature on those tyres. Seeing there that JM actually invalidated again, so he's going to try again. Gets the first corner right this time, going down on to the DRS in the first sector. So pretty good so far. Hasn't invalidated, so it looks like we can get a lap from JGM at the moment, who's coming around with another Alfa Romeo, which looks like it's going to be Jeff Link again, who has decided to start another lap to see if he can beat KD. That's a very impressive time. He's going to have to get around 3.5 tenths there. That's a lot of time to pick up.
Yeah, and looking at the times here, 108 flat, that's just shy of a second off of esports driver level. Oh, big slide from JGM coming in there. Oh yeah, we just got it confirmed in chat. 6.8 was pole from the F1 Esports Invitational, so that is certainly a statement. To be 1.2 seconds shy of esports quality, that is an impressive and bold statement. But here we go, JGM has just at this point got to set a time on the board. Looking good for him. 1.11, or say 11.728, is going to put them in 14th position, and is going to, and more importantly, it's a time on the board. You need that initial benchmark above all else. Deathlink, another driver who is still out on track, and is one that we made the call we're going to watch, but certainly looking good. About half a tenth clear of their previous. I think if they can get themselves into 108.2 or 108.1, they're going to be relatively safe on the front row. But let's see what they can do. Oh no, he's abandoning. He's gone into the pits. He's opting to maximize his timing with a final shot.
Yeah, he was actually up on his time there, so yeah, obviously still not happy with that time. We've also got a few more guys out at the moment. Zenta has just gone out. AMS Epic have gone out as well. They're on times. You got Zenta coming into sector 2 at the moment. The lovely, probably my worst part of the track. You got the windy bit coming all the way down the hill, and then coming up into the final sector 3, going on to the grid straight. With the powerful DRS, which looks likely he's going to get a good slipstream. Is he? No, he just pulls over to the left, the Alpine driver there, and Zanta crosses the line, and he improves. He just goes up one spot there into P12. So some of the guys trying to get improvements on their time. AMS Epic is not improved at the moment. James Head looks like he may have improved as well. So I think we're going to start to see some of these times start to move up the grid.
Yeah, that timing is going to be crucial when it comes to setting their final laps, because it's all too easy to get yourself set up, but at this point you need to be out of the pits now. If you want another go, you need to be out of the pits, because even your fastest lap is meaning you're not going to get a rerun if you mess up on this final shot. But here we go. James Head coming through second sector, about to start sector 3, 1.5 tenths slower than their peak, but a 0.841 is certainly a strong position to be in, a good bargaining position. We're seeing people improve by as much as 1.5 seconds, but crucially, it's not enough to get a positional gain. They are going to improve on their time by about half a tenth to a 0.803, but it's not enough to overtake J. Cole in the standings.
No, not at the moment. That KD time of 1:08.009 looks like it's not going to be beaten. But let's have a look. We've got Evan Dalton. I've just jumped on board at the moment, going around into sector 2. More traffic in front of him. There is a lot of cars on the track at the moment. So any mistakes here in your qualifying is done. Oh, a little bit of a snap there, and that is abandoned. And he has done that. He will only stay P3 at the moment. So that's really unfortunate for Evan Dalton there. And then you've got FBR Thyman, who looks like is on a lap at the moment. So I'm just trying to see if anyone is coming on or finishing a lap at the moment. We've got 37 seconds.
Got Zataxter coming through. Zataxter is about to finish a lap, I think. Or at least starting one. No, here we go. It's coming up to start one. And they have got a lot of work to do. 14.478, currently lowest end of the field, but they have an opportunity. They have a crucial opportunity to improve here. Are we going to see any improvements? 15 seconds until the checkered flag falls. It's crunch time.
Yes, it is crunch time. These are the times now where it matters everything. It matters everything to all of them. They've got 6 seconds to do it now. And then that is it. That checkered flag comes out, done and dusted. Who is the first person to come around that last corner of their lap? And it looks like it is a Haas driver in Iron. He's coming around into sector 3, down the lovely main straight with the DRS. He is about to finish up, and he stays at 1:09, 1:16 in P9.
And it got a few more drivers coming up through here. So we've got the Alfa Romeo of Rando. Rando is not going to be getting an improvement. A few more drivers coming through now. I think that is AMS. Yep, that is AMS. He is backing off. He is not going to be improving because he has seemingly messed up his lap earlier on. You had also Ataku Logan. Zataxter has got himself a 5-place grid penalty. Not that I think it matters at this point, because I think he is confirmed bottom of the grid here. But we see an improvement from Deathlink, 0.187. Not enough to overtake KD though. KD is firmly locked in top of the field. And I think we are looking at, unless anyone comes with a surprise surge, as we see King Kodiak and JGM coming through now. Kodiak is heading into the pits. JGM 1:11.2 is going to be staying, and then Zataxter, missing a front wing, is going to be retiring themselves to the pit lane. That is quali, folks, and that is going to be KD 108.009. They're going to be taking pole with Deathlink joining them on the front row.
Yeah, I'm quite shocked with my surprise there. I'll be saying to Connor, what will be my secret Santa if he wins? I'm quite surprised. I've got no idea, but yeah, that is a very, very impressive time there by those two at the front there. 108.009 and Deathlink with a 108.187. And Evan Dalton, unfortunately, did make that mistake right at the end. He'll probably be kicking himself, but he's still in a very, very good position there in that P3.
Yeah, it's certainly got some interesting matchups in terms of grid positioning, and I am very much looking forward to how this pans out in the race. But your final run through before the race, folks, and before we get jumping into the Christmas Comms Cup full special edition final remix, now featuring Funky Kong and Dante from the Devil May Cry series. We have KD taking pole position, 108 flat, with Deathlink joining them alongside them in the front row. Evan and Thyman take the second row, with Epic and J. Cole making the third row, and Aston Martin lockout. James and Utaku Logan take P7 and P8, with Nathan Riches, Iron F1, Rando, Ivan Brim Mike, Menta aka Dan Field, Jess, JGM, King Kodiak, Zataxter, and Max and Byron making up the rest of your field. But we will be back in just a moment, folks, after a word from our sponsor here. All right, folks, we are back trackside for race 1 of the Commentators Christmas Cup. Make sure to check out our partners, GT Omega. Use code PSGL for a discount at checkout. And as always, thanks to them and anyone else who's willing to support us by subscribing to the YouTube channel, liking the stream, and joining our Discord as well as any of our socials. But we saw quite the shake-up and quite a bit of contrast to our initial predictions. Hey, Golf.
Yes. Yeah, no, we did. I was actually, like I said, I was quite surprised. I just picked someone random, and yeah, they're on the podium.
All right, here we go now. We've got 5 red lights. The track is hot, and we are away. Absolutely no time wasted. And we are going to be jumping straight into things. So we're on board with AMS Epic. We're going to see a massive shuffle at the top of the grid as KD's going to get himself a bit of a clean getaway. Absolute pandemonium down the bottom of the track as you have drivers dropping in and out, dropping out of contention down at the bottom end. You can see the absolute chaos happening in this mid-pack right now. We've got, for instance, we have got Byron, who has made a bit of a late surge alongside Max Ring following their disqualification in quali. They finally get a chance to show off their chops, and Max is immediately on the offensive. Going in the inside, he's going to be taking Byron, heading into the second sector. As you see, I think that's Logan going a little bit wide. He's absolutely scything through the field. Look at this McLaren.
I was going to just say something else. The 2 Aston Martins.
Oh, that's contact, though. Tonight. That's contact. He's got a little bit too aggressive, and that is, I think, one of the... Sorry to cut you off, mate, but I think he tapped the back of Rando there, and I'm wondering how much is stewarding going to get involved? That's kind of my other question. Is there going to be much stewarding involved? I don't know. I'm kind of scared.
Well, I'm sure it will, but at the moment, J. Cole and AMS Epic, you wouldn't think they were teammates, to be honest with you. Actually having a little bit of a wheel bang in that Sector 3 area there, so keep an eye on them too, because he is 7.5 tenths behind Evan Dalton at the moment, with AMS Epic behind. But yeah, just keep an eye out, because I don't think they're going to be teammates in this race tonight.
Well, if they are teammates now, they're certainly not going to be for much longer. You can see JM going for a bit of a move down the inside of Jess here, managing to get it done through turn 4. You see his Alpine compatriot going wide, so that is going to be 2 positions for JGM coming into 14th place. Majoritively mediums out on track today, and very interesting to see the amount of splits in strategy. So back on board, you see the yellows are coming out in the second sector. I think we had a little bit of a spin, another one from Ivor, as they are going to be dropping down now to 19th. Zataxter's kind of struggling in the back as well, but not really much action at the top of the field, though Evan is in a bit of an interesting position. He's going to be going on with Diamond, and you're going to see another move. J. Cole's coming through. This could be a double overtake heading into the first corner. Has he got it? I don't know. It's side by side with them. They're going to continue the fight. And no, J. Cole's got it. First few couple of corners. That is a double move from the Aston Martin, but he's not done. He's not going to be getting it without a fight. You can see Evan continuing that pressure. Turn 4 now. On the inside is that Aston. He's going to try and keep the pressure, keep the commitment. Thymon's going to be out of the run in here. I think he's going to pass the torch to his teammate on the softer tyre. Doesn't really have much of a choice. Dalton back through now. J. Cole continuing to eye up potential positions. These two are on the same tyres. They're not going to have much advantage over the other. So really, it just comes down to car placement. And Dalton has so far locked it in through the second sector with a good couple of moves, very well timed and placed.
Yeah, you've also got a battle going on between the back as well, between the Diamond and James Head in the Williams and the Red Bull. Have a little bit of a mistake there, a little bit of a snap and lost out, and James is now going to get back on to the back of Diamond again, but then Nathan Richards, his teammate as well, is getting on the back. So these guys are pretty close together, as you can see there. Definitely now looking to make the move on KD. No, it stays behind him at the moment, but he has really pulled in the time, because that was about 1.5 seconds he was in front, and he's now going to get on the DRS, and I think you're going to have a new leader going into the first corner. There you go, Definitely moves over to the left. Thank you very much. I'll have that position. And remember, he is on the medium, so KD not running them softs, and 13% ERS. He has used a lot of that, so yeah, be very interesting to see as he does come back at him. He's 2.5 tenths behind him at the moment, and yeah, it's a Ferrari battle here at the moment between Alfa Romeo and Ferrari.
I say, battle of the Italians, as it were. You got Deathlink in a very good position here. He's on the inferior tyre, but it is going to have more longevity. So, really, he could absolutely destroy KD's strategy by just placing his car well, being on the defensive, and removing any advantage he could get from the additional grip those tyres can afford. We're seeing a couple of local yellows coming out, and it looks like a bit of a struggle down the back. We've got a few drivers who are much further behind the rest of the field. That's going to be Zataxter, Byron, and Ivor Bryn Mike in the Ferrari, Mercedes, and Alpine, respectively. But looks like Thyman is heading into the pits. I think they got a little bit of damage there.
Yeah, that's very early. Lap 5 out of 18 on those 4 laps. It'll be very interesting to see what's going to happen there. And no damage. That is a complete tyre change. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting strategy. I wonder what they're coming out on the hard, so I think they're going to be running it to the end.
Oh, he's gone into the wall. And he's out.
He's gone into the wall. Oh no, yeah, he's completely marooned on track. The other thing to mention, this will be a very good time to mention, folks. Safety car is fully disabled. So we are not having a safety car. Drivers are just going to have to deal with it and make sure they don't hit whatever's on track while the stewards are running in there, like fastest steward running you'll ever see if it was rendered in game. And you're going to see drivers absolutely having to keep their wits about them. Nathan Richards going to be the next one to head into the pits, going to be yielding to the other drivers. And you see the McLaren, Max say, they have been a little bit spear happy. They have seen a bit of contact with other drivers, but so far, car is in one piece, and it looks like they're going to be challenging against Iron P7. Bit of battling up ahead, and in the top spots, we're going to quickly see, is there going to be a move, return for? Nope, they're holding off, they're holding back. J. Cole as well is absolutely out of ERS, which is a big problem. They are not going to be doing well, and because they're below 10%, their car's actually going to be on reduced power.
Yeah, burning a lot of ERS very early stages as well, because you can see Evan Dalton behind. He's got 37% of that ERS at the moment. J. Cole obviously 14%, and AMS Epic with 44. So those two in Evan and AMS are managing their ERS, but yeah, J. Cole is he's managed some more, but it's now disappearing again because he's extremely under pressure from Evan Dalton. But some of these guys have gone in very early. What's your thoughts on that? Because I'm thinking maybe a couple more laps and then go in and then just go on the end on soft, I would say.
Well, track position is key. If you can hold a higher track position for longer, you are going to be seeing an improvement. Oh, saying that, we did have a lead from the session, so that's Max in the McLaren. He's left the session, I think disconnected. But I question some of the early stops, especially considering how short the race is, because you're not going to be getting much in the way of recourse. You don't have that same strategy of the late surge as you do in longer races. So I think staying out longer, then pitting at the very end, like you say, is going to give you the most chance to disrupt strategies. And then once you've established your advantage, you can swing it home on the soft.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think, talking about strategies, I think J. Cole is going to be a bit of a party pooper here for KD, because he's right behind him on those mediums. Those softs look like they may have gone, but this is also helping Evan as well, because he is just going to stay in the wings on the slipstream there. Does KD go in? Yes, he does. So there you go. J. Cole goes into P2. Evan now
what's
goes
happened at the back? Sorry to cut
P3.
you off, mate. Kodiak and Byron have come together. Kodiak survived, but Byron is out of this race. He was completely shot. His car is done. He was missing at least 2 wheels there. Not sure what happened between the two, but just saw out of nowhere. He's been disqualified from the session. I think it's also a good time to mention that race 2, we got confirmation, is going to be a reverse grid. So reverse grid. So if you place at the bottom of the field, you are going to be moved up. But is that going to apply the same for drivers who DNF'd? Are they going to be inheriting pole, or are they going to be starting from the back?
Yeah, that's going to be very exciting for those guys going up in to the top. But we got Rando. Looks like he's going to get through Max Ring, which is unfortunately who has the disconnection, so he'll get into that P6 very, very easily, straight through. There you go. So he's gained another position, but Evan Dalton's still behind Jay Cole at the moment. It would be good if AMS Epic was there a little bit sooner. He would be able to help, but it doesn't look like they are going to be helping each other tonight. But yeah, I reckon we're going to start to see a move here from Jay Cole now, moving on to Deathlink into the DRS section, which is coming up in 3, 2, 1. Does he get a good enough speed? Here we go, 8% ERS, burning the ERS. As you can see, Evan just sticking by and doesn't get the job done, unfortunately. So maybe a little bit more time he's going to need. James Head getting a penalty there, unfortunately. But Jay Cole is on the prowl for that P1.
You can certainly tell that he's pushing absolutely everything he can out of his car. I'd say too aggressively. Like I said earlier, if you're below 10% power, you are going to be losing yourself. Well, you're losing engine power because your car is trying to recover that energy more aggressively to make up for that shortage. You can't go 0% without the losses. So he needs to, I think, manage his energy a little bit better. Maybe set himself a soft limit of 10%. But he needs to do more recovery, even if it means temporarily sacrificing P3, because he can recharge his energy, get a draft of Evan. But saying that, they're both heading into the pits. And I think they're going to be coming out on the soft compound, because that's the trend we're starting to see with some of the later drivers. KD has already taken their stop, and of course was leading the race earlier on. And they are out on the mediums. So difference in strategy is certainly going to play a part. They've already got the medium down and now they can run the soft compound, but where are our top runners going to be coming out? As Deathlink is going to be very soon in the pits.
Yes, when you were talking about that in regards to Jay Cole and Evan Dalton, you could see that they were getting very, very close together, and it was just about managing the ERS there. Deathlink has decided to keep going. This is going to be very interesting to see if he is going to be able to get to get in front of these guys. Is the undercut going to be very dangerous? Are we going to see a completely different winner here? Obviously, Logan is 15 seconds behind. He's gone way over there. I think he may have made a mistake and had a bit of a damage. He's lost his front right plate there on those hards, so he's going to struggle now. Definitely going to have to pit. But KD now coming around the last couple of corners, and AMS Epic and Deathlink now coming in. Deathlink gets a 5 second, and that is not going to help. Definitely don't want a penalty here, especially that 5 seconds. Epic in the pits as well. KD both coming round, and I think these two,
ooh,
and they're both going to battle coming down the straight. And there you go, Jay Cole gets I think he's going to get the job done, is he? Yes, and there you go. So staying out did not work at all.
Yeah, it's just not played out in his favour here. So you've got Deathlink coming out of the pits now. He's going to be reinserting himself into the fight down in P4. So he's going to have to work his way back up again as Evan, KD and J. Cole now take the top spots. A few more drivers like Dan Field are going to be taking penalties for speeding in the pit lane. And that is usually a race ender we see in our traditional competitors. But we're seeing a few more drivers do it, so maybe there's still an opportunity to make something of it here. James Head also chasing down AMS Epic, 4 laps older on the medium tyres, but big snap on the rear is going to see him lose a potential opportunity. AMS is on cold mediums. He's going to have to warm them up a bit more. He's not in an optimal spot. Unfortunately, I think James just lost his crucial opportunity for an overtake.
Yeah, I'm just looking at these top 3 at the moment. You've got Jake Cole on the softs, you've got KD on the mediums on 3 laps, and you've got Evan Dalton on the softs. I think this is Jake Cole's race, to be honest with you. I think those softs, like, he only needs to do, what, 7 laps. Those mediums I don't know if they're going to be the quicker tyre. You know, the softs around here are very, very fast, and Evan Dalton is 5.5 tenths. It's going to be interesting to see the gap between KD and Jay Cole, as we did see him do a very, very phenomenal lap in qualifying. But he's managing at the moment, 6.5 tenths behind Jay Cole on them softs. Be interesting to see him pull away, but the problem is he can't pull away because he doesn't have the ERS to pull away, and neither does even Dalton now, or KD. They're on extremely low ERS, so when he wants to pull away on that main straight, straight, you need to be able to try and build it up, save the energy, and use it on those straights to pull away. As you can see now, we're starting to see a little bit of a difference. There's 9.5 tenths now between him and KD, so I think you're going to start to see him pull away now. But I think you're also going to start to see Evan Dalton and Deathlink get onto the back of KD very, very quickly.
As long as he can stay... Oh, big snap from KD, and that's going to see him going into the back or the front of Evan Dalton, who's going to take the opportunity, see that weakness in the Ferrari driver, along with Deathlink. They're going to be inheriting the podium spots from that Ferrari, but they're going to have a drag race into turn 1 as well. Deathlink is committed to making this a double, making it a twofer. Is he going to be able to commit? Is he going to be able to succeed? I don't know if he is. Evan Dalton has it for now, but they're both on the recharge. Deathlink's going to have the DRS, and he's going to use it. Absolutely everything in the tank. But the problem now is that J. Cole is 1.8 seconds clear, has a chance to recharge his battery, and because of that clearance, Deathlink's no longer got DRS. So I think that's a death knell for the strategy, because DRS, as well as being a speed tool, is also a resource management tool. You can keep your speed equal, but not use overtake to recharge anywhere from 5 to 10% of a battery. And so that is certainly going to have repercussions in the final 5 laps of this race.
Yeah, and I also think Deathlink's got a problem because he does have that 5-second penalty as well. So he is going to drop even further down, probably around about P6, which is unfortunate. So he's not going to get a podium. He's just going to have to try and keep, he's going to try and pull away as well. But yeah, that 5 seconds is not going to help. So Evan Dalton and KD will take that to turn P3 unless anything happens. But yeah, you can start to see that gap is now pulling away now. It's 1.7, and Evan Dalton can't seem to get to the back of Deathlink either, which is going to come under extreme pressure from KD now because he is in this DRS, but they just don't have the ERS, so they just don't have the power to push on for a little bit more going into those DRS sections. So probably this time would be an interesting idea to maybe save some ERS, see what you can do, and then try and burn a little bit more and make that overtake, because KD he's keeping pretty close to Evan Dalton, even though we've got moves going on in P12 and P13 with Jess going into the pits on those softs. Ivor Bryn Mike in P12, right behind Ottokar Logan on those mediums, is going to get the DRS, going to get the move, but there again, look, no ERS again, very, very low. These guys do not like their ERS, do they?
Yeah, I think they've just got a bit of a resource management issue. We're seeing it common across a lot of the drivers. You need to keep an eye on your batteries. You can't be pushing with the way they are, being too opportunistic, because you are losing power, and when a true opportunity does present itself, you don't have the means to make good on it. So if I was any of these drivers, especially the top runners, like your Deathlinks, your Evans, your KDs, I would take a step back. Instead of using my overtake, maybe even turn down my ERS usage entirely and go full recharge. But you can see with the fog lights flashing, they need to take a step back. They need to focus on charging their batteries, save up for the final lap, and then fire everything. Because you cannot keep burning at every single opportunity. We need to see drivers start to save, and then that way, if they push on the final lap, other drivers who haven't done that have zero recourse.
Yeah, 100%. And you are right. Obviously, the more you burn the ERS, the less more you're going to be able to make those overtakes, because if you are in a 3-4 car battle as well, it's a DRS train, which is going to make it very, very difficult to make any more positions at the moment. But obviously, Deathlink now is right behind J. Cole, but has got to make that 5 seconds, and he's going to be able to make that move pretty quick because Evan Dalton is now 3.7 seconds behind him. So he's not going to be able to make that move either, you see. So the closer you are, and look, for instance, this is the in situation here. You've got AMS Epic trying to make the move down on KD, does make the move, but oh, that was very, very tight. But KD going very, very wide there, but still low on ERS, and so is Evan Dalton. So this is going to be an interesting end, because you've got AMS Epic there, and you've also got Evan Dalton. They are having a fantastic battle. It does look like there's a Ferrari which is being lapped, which is Zach's now, but KD is sticking there, but it looks like AMS Epic is getting extremely close, and it now looks like the mediums have now come into it now, and the softs have gone off, because Evan Dalton seems to be a little bit slow coming into these last final corners, as AMS Epic is going to get right up, and he's got a lot more ERS. He's got around about, well, he did have 21%, he's now down to 11 again. So there you go, and obviously Katie behind has got 12.2%. But is he going to get the move done before the first corner? He's going to have another bite at the cherry, or as we say, another bite at the mince pie. Back to you.
Well, here we go. We could see a move coming in from Deathlink, as he's going to be given everything for this turn 4 move. He's going to confirm it, but he's still got one more lap to go. Maybe a little bit premature, but he needs to focus on recharge now. He's got the position. He's got a lap younger soft tyres, but he's going to have J. Cole breathing down his neck at basically every single corner here. KD's another one we can keep an eye on, because they are chasing Evan down. And as you say, those softs are starting to go off. They've lost their prime. Now the mediums have a crucial opportunity to push themselves just that little bit harder, pip them around to the corner. Oh, that was a ghosting out and a half. That was a very scary moment there. But we see KD trying to get it down, but it's losing traction, it seems. Big snaps coming from the Ferrari, going very wide off track. They're going to be losing a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm just looking at the times as well. J. Cole, if he can push on, AMS Epic here, we could have a double Aston Martin podium here with J. Cole and AMS Epic, because obviously Deathlink does have that 5-second speed in the pit lane, so this is going to be interesting. You've got 2.5 temps, so 5, 6, 7. That takes AMS Epic to 4.7, and that time is dropping and increasing, dropping and increasing, and now Deathlink is out, so he's 5 seconds behind. So yeah, looking likely at the moment on the last final lap, we could have a double podium here, which is, well, after these two weren't working together, they could actually be in front. But look at this, Deathlink and J. Cole going at it on the last corner. Probably doesn't even know he has a 5-second, but he's going to still battle. Look at the race here. Fantastic side-by-side action going in, holding the line as much as he can. Deathlink can't hold it. J. Cole looks like he's going to get the job done, but Deathlink is definitely going to get the job done here on J. Cole for the overtake. Not for the win, unfortunately, with that penalty, because he is going to get the DRS. 14%. Is he going to get the move before the finish line? Are we going to have Alonso and Perez finish again? Here we go, it's going to be a tight one, and there you go. Look at that, extremely close there.
And that is a heck of a finish. Deathlink is unfortunately going to be demoted to P3 though, because of the penalties he incurred. So J. Cole is going to take the win of the race, but regardless, that was an amazing racing on that final lap. Few more drivers are coming in now, and penalties are going to be accounted for. So you see James being dropped down following unserved. You see a few more drivers also getting dropped down the field. Interestingly though, James, if he was just a 10th faster, he would have kept P8 against Rando, but Rando's inherited it, having a fairly clean run, as with many other drivers coming through here.
Oh, great finish there between Jess and Ivory Mike. That went to the wire as well. Oh, there was some really good battles there on that final stretch, but no, really, really good performance there by everyone for the Comms Christmas Cup.
And that is where we land. And after an interesting race one, we had a few disconnects, but you can see it is a double Aston Martin podium coming in. That is going to be a heck of a first race. That sets us up very, very nicely. And that is going to be quite the performance. But there you go. J. Cole and AMS Epic are going to make it an Aston Martin 1-2. And what a performance from them both. So Deathlink and Aaron Dalton, also are going to be coming through with some very great performances of their own. Some great fighting with KD getting very close to pipping some of their positions, but unfortunately a couple of mistakes meant they couldn't link it together. You had a few other drivers with fairly quiet races, but still very strong ones. So Nathan Richards in Iron 6th and 7th didn't really have much to say, along with Rando, but they did still do great nonetheless. We had James coming in P9 after penalties, but did get the fastest lap of 1 minute 10 dead to the millisecond. 110 flat. Amazing job. Max also was another one who made an early surge, but unfortunately got disconnected. And then you have Jess, Ivor Bramike, Taku Logan, Downfield, and then Zataxter I think also got disconnected. But JGM, Kodiak, Byron and Thyman both unfortunately not making it to the end of the race. And that is where we sit for race 1. And that's just race 1. Where the heck are we going to land for race 2?
Yeah,
don't
I
even
still
know.
don't know, actually. It's a Christmas surprise.
Well, I can tell you at
Talking
least the
about
track we're
Christmas.
going.
Okay, well, you spoiled the fun. But I will say something about Christmas. Talking about the sponsors of GT Omega, get that last Christmas shopping. You want to get that discount code, get involved, and yeah, just get in there, get involved. Do an amazing product, and yeah, put that code as well. So yeah, last minute of your Christmas shopping. If you want to buy presents, then now's the time.
Aye to that. Well, I can say where we are heading for race 2. If you're on our Twitter or X, you already know it. And again, a reminder, follow us on there if you want to keep up to date with all the news in PSGL and the wider scene. But track 2 is none other than Silverstone. And what a track to have for the second race. Now, it is just straight to the race. We are getting confirmation you're using reverse quali order, not reverse race order. So we were having a little bit of initial confusion about that, but we've got confirmed by one of the admins. It is reverse quali order. So for the likes of KD, who started quali, well, got pole position and started the race in first, they are going to be starting from the back of the field. We're jumping straight into the race. Absolutely no downtime, no extra gubbins. And we've had one icon of the motorsport calendar. What do you think of this one?
Oh, I love this. It's obviously my home track. Obviously yours as well. Even though I'm all the way in New Zealand. Yeah, it's an amazing track. Absolutely love the track. It's a lot of places to overtake. A lot of places to be very, very careful. Obviously, maggots and beckets. You've got Stowe as well. So yeah, it's an iconic track, and I reckon we're going to see a lot of action. And I reckon this is going to be the one for speed, isn't it? You know, it is it is a very, very quick track with a few technical corners, but that's it. You know, that DRS in Sector 3, well, coming up to Stowe, that's a phenomenal DRS sector there. So I reckon we're going to see quite a lot of overtakes there. And another one, it's going to be down to setup as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is going to be down to setup. Really, the big differentiator in a lot of setups here is your peak pace in the corners. So high-speed corners are really where you're going to be prioritizing, especially you've got the likes of Maggots, Beckett's, you've got Chapel, you've got Stowe, and they are really going to be a test of your car and of your driving prowess. But it is, say, 18 corners, 3.6 miles, 2 DRS zones, and a heck of a lot of fun. Your key places to watch out for as we come to this 5.9 kilometer track. Your key sort of flash points, I guess, for areas of overtake is going to be turn 3, it's going to be turn 6, and then it's going to be coming out the second DRS zone, coming out through, I believe that's turn 14. So I'm certainly excited. We're just getting everyone who disconnected back into the lobby, and then we are going to be jumping straight in to the race. Are predictions changing at all for you in terms of who you think is going to come out on top, or are you staying resolute?
I'm gonna stay with my man. I'm gonna stay with Deadlink. I'm still I'm still in shock that I got someone on P3 and normally get no predictions right. But no, J Cole will be an interesting one in this one in AMS Epic. And remember that the thing is, I don't think sometimes it's about times, it's track dependent. You know, like people say, evaluations and stuff like that. These guys at the back could be quicker at this track. They could enjoy this track more. Brazil could be one of those tracks that they don't like, be technical. You know, so we could see the same people at the front. We may not. You know, and obviously if it's reversed, it's going to be even more difficult because the guys are going to have to get through the traffic to get to the front.
That is of course going to be the
mistakes as well.
Yeah, that's going to be the big beneficiary to some of the folks in the mid and the back of the pack, because if they got back of the pack in quali, they're now at the front, so they have an opportunity to get away in the same way that the drivers did on race 1. I am going to be for the most part sticking, but I have one addendum to make, and that is going to be Max. If they hadn't disconnected in that McLaren, I honestly think they would have been fighting at the top end. So provided they don't disconnect, they are a driver that I am going to be sort of adding to my watch list personally.
Well, there you go. He's going to be disloyal.
I still have my faith.
I'm going to be loyal. I'm going to stay with, definitely. I'm going to stay with my pick, even though I did get it wrong, but I'm still happy with the podium. But no, the Aston Martin drivers, they did very, very well getting a 1-2. I'll be very interested to see if they work together on this one as well, because this is the one where you do really need to work together with your teammate on that DRS train, you know, to keep changing formation, because you don't want to get stuck behind each other and then give the other person in P3 the opportunity to overtake. So it'll be very interesting to see if any of these guys do work together, or if it is just all for all and just go out there and do your best.
I think it's everyone for themselves, to be perfectly honest with you. As much as they are teammates on the track, they can have cooperation, but we did see a little bit of, well, call it tough love in the first race. So I wonder how much they're going to be following through with the whole sentiment of having a teammate, because I don't know how much they are going to cooperate. And if they are going to cooperate, then we're going to have to see that pretty quick, because I don't think they are starting together following the quali necessarily. But it does look like, actually, just a quick technical update. I think the lobby is having another issue. We might have to make a new lobby before we get into the second race.
Don't we just all have Codemasters? I was going to add one more thing to that, actually, when you were saying about the teammates. I don't think J. Cole or AMS Epic will be sending each other a Christmas card in that Brazil race.
Well, I think everyone is in the in one of the commentary chats together, so there's not so much inter-team comms as there is yelling with a side of communication. I would love to listen in. I'm kind of scared to, but if only I could be a little wallflower right now, kind of hearing what's going on and questioning whether it would be safe for stream or not. No, I kid. Everyone's professional here. Everyone is definitely being extremely civil with each other. But we are getting a confirmation now. We are having a lobby restart. So we'll have a quick ad from one of our sponsors, and then we will be having a little bit of a technical intermission. So thank you everyone who's watching for our patience. Hopefully you enjoyed the first race. Let us know who you are keeping your eye on for race 2, and we'll be back with you in just a couple minutes once our lobby is ready and we are back out on track for Silverstone.
got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though.
Once again, folks, we'd just like to thank you for your patience while we get the lobby fixed and repaired. We are getting the new lobby now set up, and we will be right back with you in Silverstone. Just having a little bit of a game technical issues. Nothing new, but we are having to take a little bit of time just to remake things. But we did see some very surprising performances from some of the drivers. I would say, actually, Golf, I'll pass this one to you. what was the biggest surprise for you that we saw from that first race?
Me picking Deathwing. I was actually going to say the 5. I thought that some of the guys would actually work together as teammates, but I thought the little bit of wheel banging between the Aston Martins was quite good. But it was probably the close finish. You know, unfortunately, without the penalty, that would have been an amazing finish. It still was an amazing finish, and obviously the finish between Jess and Ivor Bryn Mike, that was brilliant. Obviously, had no penalties, and that was for a position. So that was really good. Some of the really close finishing to see, even though these guys are in our role at the moment, what we're currently doing in comms, they done really well on track. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, I think it is a testament to them, and also a testament to the fact that if you, and this is what I'd love to say to anyone who's thinking of getting into commentary, you don't necessarily have to know wheel, but it certainly helps. It certainly does help, especially when you get a Christmas Cup and you have a chance to prove yourself out on track. It certainly does. It does swing things a little bit in your favor. But what really matters, I think, as we sit here, and we both sort of joked at the start that we're happy we're not driving, because we would feel a little bit, we'd be sort of back markers. You don't necessarily have to be the best at the game, because what matters is that passion, that knowledge, that willingness to get stuck in, get a chance to try, and be willing to be professional and to improve. I think that's kind of the takeaway. And what, I guess, before we jump into the race good and proper, what we really do need to sort of give a tip of the hat to all these folks driving, because at the end of the day, they're commentators and they do a lot of hard work as part of that. Like, I say, sadly had to take a step away this season, but would certainly love to rejoin next season in the full-time roster. But the amount of work that goes into these sort of commentary projects and putting on a good show, it can't be understated. So I think before anything else, much love to all the commentators driving and the commentators not driving, because there's still a lot of team and work on the back end to get these kind of things done.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Obviously, the work that goes behind it as a commentator as well is phenomenal. You know, obviously learning the track names. I still don't know some of the track names. I just, as you can probably tell by Sector 1, Sector 2, I just let you go with that. And yeah, and then to see them behind the wheel, giving it a go as well, you know, and having a bit of fun. And like you say, it's a Christmas Cup. It's a privilege. No, it is a privilege. And obviously to do these things for PSGL, which is amazing. And we should do them. We should do an Easter Cup, maybe. I don't know, Halloween Cup. You know, you could start turning it into a tradition for PSGL every year.
Oh, certainly a fan of tradition. So we do want to get
I'm
more.
English. Of course I am. It's a season to be jolly, my friend.
Well, it's a great tradition to have an event like this, and to see who knows will. I mean, I would happily do this on like other games, but I'll be honest, I'm not there on the skills wise. But we're seeing some sort of, say, some dark horses coming out of the woodwork. I mean, like Epic was an absolute joy to watch out on track. Same goes with J. Cole and the other Aston Martin. We saw some great moves coming from the back of the field, some great racing on the back end, some great racing on the front end. And as we are just waiting, I think, on one more person, and then the lobby now starts, we get to see it go all over again. So we've already had our predictions, we've had our reads, some of us staying loyal, some of us less so. But as a reminder of where we are going, folks, we are headed to Silverstone, and it is going to be a heck of a ride. So everyone's just loading in now, and I think readying up, but Silverstone, very different beast from Interlagos. In some ways the same. You still have a lot of high commitment corners, but in a lot of ways it is also very, very different. Nowhere near as windy, a lot more open, and is going to rely a lot more on lateral G-force, high speed, and really having that faith and commitment in your car over the high speed corners, and being willing to trust it. I think for all of Interlagos's sort of many great qualities, one of the things you don't necessarily see is you don't have that high speed cornering like you see at Silverstone. It's one of its core features is those sort of left-right, left switchbacks that is Maggotts Beckett's.
Yes, no, 100%. And on that, like, obviously, if you're very, very close together, obviously some people will try and may go for the move, may just hold off. You know, you don't want to be going too wide there. It's just not, there's just not enough room unless you can do it. It is, I've seen it done. It's amazing if you can get it done. But yeah, there's a lot of places where you're just going to have to just back off, just follow through the rhythm, follow the momentum of the car in front. But I reckon we're going to see a lot of overtakes down that sector 3. Going into Stowe. That's going to be a very interesting one. And even going into Stowe as well, because you can have it very, very tight, or you can go very, very wide, and then you've got that very windy chicane right at the end, going into Sector 3 as well, where you can get a move done there as well. But you can easily make mistakes as well by braking a little bit too early, losing a little bit of the back end as well. So there's a lot of places to make mistakes, but there's a lot of places, action zones, as we call them, in the F1, what they did the intros in the real life. There's a lot of action zones in Silverstone, so I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I think we're gonna see a different winner this time.
Yeah, your action zones, your hotspots, your flashpoints, call them whatever you may, but Silverstone is going to be a great track for action and a great track to have drivers going absolutely at it. A reminder of who you're looking forward to seeing, so you might see your commentator in this roster, but key ones to watch out for. So we saw a great performance from Deathloop, we saw a great performance from both Aston Martins as well as the Williams crew. We did see a couple of sort of upsets. So I think Zataxter got disconnected, or at least they had a control issue, which put them in a difficult spot in the race. We saw Max Reen get disconnected, and actually one of the drivers I'm looking out for, because we saw that very late, that we saw that massive surge before that disconnect. So if they can keep that momentum going, they might have this one. And with that all being said, folks, once again in the chat, let us know who you think's going to take it. And we are about to go trackside with the second race of the PSGL Commentators Christmas Cup. It's going to be awesome, and let's do this.
Yeah, going to be very, very good. It's going to be very interesting to see how we go with those 5 red lights going into green. See who's going to make that jump into that first corner. And that first corner is going to be a very interesting one, isn't it? Because some people are going to probably just step back and just let the momentum of the other cars go through. But some people are probably going to go in for that first move. So I'm very intrigued to see what's going to happen when those lights go green.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be an aspect of self-preservation. They saw the chaos that happened last time, and I think especially given the reverse quali order grid, the top runners who were at the front last time and now at the back, I think they might take a little bit more of a safe approach. Yes, get a couple of positions, but don't be overzealous with it. You could find yourself in the side of someone or in the back of someone. You could get a bit of front wing damage. You could get tapped out, and that could be your race as good as over. Certainly, if you want to get yourself at the front of the pecking order once again. But we're just loading in now. Everyone's getting their setups locked in and ready. And then we will be starting the race good and proper. Remember, no qualifying. We're taking the order, reversing it from race 1, and we're taking it straight in. No downtime.
No downtime at all. So, 3, 5, red lights for the last race of the Christmas Cup. And we're off. Byron in P1 at the moment, and then we're going into the first corner. How does everyone take it? Byron takes it. A lot of people take it quite wide. There is mistakes happening already at the back.
Already seeing drivers getting completely marooned out there. That's J. Cole at the bottom. Thyman out the bottom. Rando is going to be trailing behind the rest of the field. You see 2, 3 wide coming through the first few corners. And then first DRS zone is going to be activated on lap 3. But for now, it's just raw speed, pure speed. Epic up in P10. And he's going to be the one who is going to be taking the fight to his other compatriots. Double overtake, but does overextend a little bit. And we are seeing everyone just right and get that early position. Byron up at the front along with Max. Of course, they did get dropped out at the bottom end in qualifying following their early disqualification. Didn't even make it out the pit lane, but it's time to see what these two drivers can do as Max is on the back of Byron. He's going to be playing it safe through Maggots and Beckett's. Wise choice. You never go double through Maggots and Beckett's, but a very bad line from Byron is going to see Max potentially going for the move or nearly being run out of room, nearly out of the space, but he's going to have it. He's going to have the pole. He's going to have the top spot, and JGM is also going to be another driver. 206 miles an hour, certainly a commitment, but a poor line is going to see them staying in P5 as James is going to take a much wider and nicer line through.
Yeah, really, really good to see Max bring out the front. Unfortunately, had that disconnection in Brazil, so really, really good to see him out the front at the moment. But it's obviously had 2-3 for the Mercedes and Byron in downfield there. Going a little bit further down, you've got Evan Dalton right on the back of Iron, who doesn't make the move, actually makes a mistake and has a bit of a spin. And my man, who was my favourite, is out of this race. He has retired. Deflink has gone in the Alfa Romeo. Random is in the pits. Simon is in the pits. I think some of these guys honestly think there is a safety car coming because they've gone straight in. May have just have had a bit of damage there, but we've got one retirement of Deflink out. Evan Dalton had that spin, which is unfortunate. Ivor Bryn Mike very, very close to KD, and here right behind him, 2.5 tenths. Let's see what the power is like. No DRS yet coming up to Cox. Here we go. Doesn't seem to get the momentum on him at the moment, but there he does, and he goes very wide there, KD, which then lets Ivor Bryn Mike come through on the right hand side into the lovely favourite Maggots and Beckett. Nathan Richards looks like he's had a spin as well. A lot of people spinning here tonight.
Yeah, I think they're just going high aggression. They need to get those early positions, especially considering the reverse grid and the effect that's had on some of the race dynamics. But I think some of them are just taking it that little bit too far. Like, we've got James Head coming up here. He's managed to get past downfield, and it has locked in the move, but it's all too easy to get the car loose and not really consider where your limits are. You have accelerated degradation to make up for the race length and force that tyre swap. So maybe that's something just drivers aren't used to. Max is 2 seconds ahead at current, so he's netted himself a very healthy gap, with JGM and Epic both having a little bit of a tussle on track, even going a bit wheel to wheel, a little bit of tyre bumping.
Yeah, I just see that. Now he's got the DRS as well, and he's got the Alpine driver right behind him with JGM, who does have a penalty, unfortunately, and she's going to go.
Oh, that's a spin, that's tap. And that's a concertina. That's a concertina effect through and through.
Playing dominoes. There you go. So a few bit of damages there. We're going back up, and I've got to say the lead that Max Ring has at the moment, he is on the Prestige tyre here at Silverstone. 2.5 seconds. James Head on those soft, right behind Byron. Does need to get this job done pretty quick, which will probably get it done on a 3, 2, 1. DRS enabled. Here we go, and boom, straight past on those soft tyres. But is he going to be able to bring in that lead to Max Ring? Nearly 3 seconds, just under 3 seconds. But Max is on a very, very good strategy here in the McLaren.
But look at the absolute chaos that's happening in the mid-pack here. We've got both Alpines, we've got Jess, we've got J. Cole, and they're all having a big tussle at the bottom end. Jess has gone completely inverse on her strategy from race 1. She was the last to pit, and now she's going to be one of the first, along with Simon and Rando. Iron is going to be inheriting a few positions as Ivor Bryn Mike and Jess are coming in pit side. A little bit of a local yellow coming out as well, as a few more drivers are going to have a couple of issues. But yeah, Max, 2.5 seconds ahead on the medium tyre, is really in a strong position right now. He just needs to keep his head down. He needs to play it calm, and you can see we're on board with him. His driving is not doing anything crazy. He's playing it relatively safe. He's not overextending. I think we are just seeing him in his element. He's effectively gone hot lap mode.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dan Field and Byron, the two Mercedes having a little bit of a battle. It's the Aston Martins all over again from Brazil. No teammates here tonight. Like you did say, it is all for their own. The one thing I will question about on this race is the strategy of the pit lane. It is the longest pit lane, I think, out there, and you lose so much time. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Max Ring goes early, as Dan Field does go past his teammate, or probably on his own at the moment. I don't know if they are teammates. They are in the same car, but he has got past, and Byron is going to try and come back. Is he going to go on the outside? Yes, he does go for the move. There is no teammates in this Christmas Cup. It is all for all. You can definitely tell, but it's some great driving there. Look at the synchronizing coming around the last couple of corners, and there you go. Byron back in front again. These two just keep switching around. But going back to the strategy, when does Max come in? That's going to be the question, because he doesn't want to lose that lead and go in too early, and then James gets in front. So that's going to be the question here from pit lane strategy.
I honestly think he'll run it out as long as possible. He has prime position right now. No pressure from any other driver. James is only getting further away. In fact, we see the last time we checked on him, it was about 2.5 seconds. Now it's 3.5. So he just runs it out as long as possible, really lean into the mediums, and then do a last minute pit for the softs, use them in their prime, and then bring it home. I think he's gone to a winner here. He just needs to execute and keep a cool head. He's even got a fair amount of the ERS saved, so he's not going to be under pressure from any attacks. But that's Byron. He's round and he's missing his front wing. I think he may have had an altercation with his teammate. We saw how close those two ran with each other, and you can see Byron and Otaku Logan are both going to be handed 3-second penalties, with Nathan coming through to the P5 spot, taking it almost for free.
Yeah, he's just jumped into that P5 now, and it's going to give him a P4 opportunity as well. Vartiga Logan having that penalty, and there you go. James Head having to go into the pits on the soft, so he's obviously must be going for the undercut here. That'd be very interesting. Didn't seemed a little bit cagey going through Maggots and Beckett's, and there's another penalty there for Byron, so that is not good. That's 5 plus 3. So yeah, that's not going to help him at the moment. But Dan Field, 6 seconds behind Max Ring. Max Ring has got this race in the bag. He can probably get a penalty and maybe win at the moment as it stands. 6 laps out of 13. And about 7 to go. Nathan Rich is very, very close to Logan. Will get that move done with DRS shortly. But a few people pitting now, making the decision to pit and going for that undercut.
I wouldn't hedge the bets just yet. Remember, we saw what happened last time out. Things can flip on their head in nearly an instant. So I wouldn't go all in on the bets yet. We see James immediately reasserting themselves onto the track. Getting P9 off of King Kodiak, who I think is struggling on the softs. I think, like you say, the softs are kind of going off now. Drivers are looking a lot less stable, a lot more cagey, and I think part of it is that accelerated degradation, because the race is only 13 laps, and Silverstone, certainly on the front left tyre, is so punishing on your rubber. You really need to be careful.
Definitely, Nathan Rich is coming down, and I will put a bet on that. I will say Max Ring will win this, and I will bet you a Christmas pie. A mince pie. It might be mouldy by the time it gets there, so unfortunately I'll send you a pack. I'll send you a pack of mince pies if Max Ring wins. How's that?
Well, let's say the mailing service I don't have much faith in, but you know what, take your chance. Spin the wheel, let's see what happens. We've got Otaku Logan coming into the pits now as well, and they are going to be probably coming out about P10 or just behind King Kodiak is my prediction. That leaves the top of the field in an interesting spot, because everyone is going to be, for the most part, on the mediums, and we're seeing the softs are kind of a tire to be avoided. I would have thought drivers would try to lean into the soft as much as possible, but as you can see from a little bit of an altercation, as Ivor Mike is off on the inside, the softs are kind of to be avoided, at least from the life of some of the drivers and their driving right now.
Yeah, definitely. Jake Cole and Byron having a very aggressive battle here. Wheel banging going into the first couple of turns, and yeah, manages to get through Byron at the moment, who is now going to get on the back of Diamond, who is battling KD, and still a few battles going on here. You've got Evan Dalton, he's coming into it. JGM drives very wide off side, coming through Maggots and Beckett's. Does Evan Dalton get lovely slipstream? Yes, he does. Look at the exit he gets there. He is right on the back of JGM. Going to get the DRS. Don't need to burn that ERS at all with the DRS, but they're still going side by side, and JGM is And yeah, he does hold. And there you go. Evan Dalton goes into P6. And the leader has gone into the pits. Max Ring is in.
Oh, but he's disconnected.
Dan Field's left the session. So that's going to hurt him dramatically now.
He's absolutely lost it. He's had such a good position, and it's just not coming together as he would have hoped. You got Max coming in, our race leader, onto the softs. Where is he going to come out on track? He's going to be getting out in P4. Fresh softs, though, he's going to make that up in no time. And once the other drivers are pitting, that is going to be a very tough call to answer. KD as well, further down in the field, as Byron gets the fastest lap, KD is going to be getting a couple positions off of hitters and is going to be chasing down on Rando. Irish driver, Irish collegiate, know him very well, and I am very curious to see how he handles this challenge.
And I do believe that Max Ring is the last one to pit for the time being, because the top three have not pit, so they still need to come in. So I believe that those mince pies are coming to you, my friend.
We shall see.
Dan Field obviously out front with no connection. Really unfortunate. Evan Dalton having a penalty, JGM having a penalty, and Max Ring 1.1 behind them already. 3 seconds behind him is James Head at the moment. Battles going on here between Byron, Jay Cole, and the two Astons. Oh, Jay Cole comes onto the track very badly there, and Thyman nearly goes right into the back of him. But there is going to be another battle here. This could be a three-way battle here. A lot of these cars going off track, losing traction, losing grip, and here comes AFS Epic going right behind Byron, coming in to Cops, gets the job done. Thank you very much. Into P10, and we've got a yellow at the back. That looks like Exacta, but we've also got Evan Dalton coming into the pits now as well. So there you go. Max Ring will jump into P3, just trying to get past JGM. Forces him pretty wide, and he's up into P2.
Such a tight move. That could have gone very badly, so respect to them both for getting the space still, and Max has managed to get round now. So he's got about 8 seconds to make up, if he has to make it up, because we know Danfield's DC'd, so that position is as good as gone. 4 laps to go. Unfortunate for Dan, because he was having such a good race up until that point, but such is the way sometimes. Those seconds are dropping dramatically, and I think we may be seeing what is a conclusion. But Thyman and Byron are going to be duking it out. Coming up to the second sector now, the core of the second sector. And Simon's got a point to prove. He's certainly got a point to prove after what happened in race 1. They have to keep their wits about them. They go very wide. They don't really get the apex and the commitment they need from the car. Maybe a little bit of setup, maybe just a little bit of apex and corner entry. Byron with a very wide exit out of, I believe that's Chapel, is going to see him lose some speed. Thyman could have an opportunity here, but he has no ERS to really close and push that gap. But he's going to go for it anyway. Down the inside of Byron, almost goes into a slide, but manages to catch it. And the final couple of corners of lap 10 is going to see. And oh, that is contact. That is a major mishap. That is Rando round. That is Byron round. And that is Iron going to be inheriting P11 off of those two's misfortune.
Yes, James Head has just got in front of JGM, and we've got Dan Fields back in the lobby, which is great to see. But James Head has just going to make the move on him in a second. He's got around about 2 seconds. So it'll be interesting to see if he does get him. He still has to pit though. Dan Field still has to pit. James Field getting past JGM at the moment. We're going a bit further down. KD now getting right on the back of Logan. Soft versus medium. Penalty versus non-penalty at the moment, as there is a few penalties there. 6, 3, 3, 3, 8, 3, 14 and 8. And another one, have another penalty, as Oprah Winfrey says. So KD up into P7, looking likely to get the job done on P6, coming up into the DRS. Again, these guys do not like the ERS button. They do not like it, because he has now burnt it. 3%, gets past, thank you very much, and he's up into P6. Dan Fields is into the pits, and JGM now into P3.
Well, if you look at some of the position changes, KD's on an absolute surge. 13 positions up from their initial start. course, having a really strong quali in race 1 has kind of had to shift their priorities, but they're still really making the most of it. You've got James Head as well, plus 11, and then a few more cars. So Downfield has reconnected and immediately had to go into the pits. Otherwise, they would have been disqualified, which has sort of removed any semblance of a race strategy they could have had. Unfortunately, too little too late, but at least they do get to finish out on track. Zataxter is going to be DNFing along with Deathlink. They're going to be retiring from the session. They've had enough. They are not having it. And you see Logan is going to be charging back on to KD. He's not taking that line down. JGM also last driver to take a stop. So we've had both the console and the PC commentator lead or com admins be the last ones to take a pit stop now. Race 1 it was Jess, and now race 2 is going to be JGM. Funny how that works.
And I've also just James Head has just lost connection as well. But the battle between Evan and Thyman is still going on. Thyman had a little bit of a hit there on Evan, who had a little bit of a snap, but that's still going on. Thyman's going to get back on to the DRS very, very shortly, going through Maggots and Beckett's. JGM getting another penalty. Well, actually, sorry, just getting a penalty there. 3 seconds, but Thyman really trying to push down onto Evan, who is on very fresh softs. I don't think he's going to get the job done with the DRS. Unfortunately, goes very, very, as a snap, and that is going to let Evan fall away a little bit more there. AMS Epic though right behind Ottica Logan here, and the Aston Martins up together once again. J. Cole just behind his teammate, just in front of his teammate at the moment. And there you go, AMS Epic straight past Logan. Thank you very much. Logan goes very wide there, and J. Cole gets through, and now it's going to be J. Cole battling his teammate in Epic, which does he going to get the job done? And these guys, again, still low on ERS.
That you look at that and you almost as if opposites attract. They were duking it out in race 1, and they seem to be inseparable. So either the greatest teammate combination in the world, or the biggest set of lucky circumstances that we have ever seen in PSGL. A little bit of a battle between Iron and Evan Dalton is going to be happening in the mid-pack. We have, of course, the 2 Aston Martin teammates, but a little bit of fighting further down. But also, up atop, we have Nathan, who's going to be getting past JGM, and I think is very soon to be getting past James, because look how close they are. And they are 4 laps in on the softs. JGM, though, is not going to take it without a fight. He still has to pit. Big contact between the two. Nathan has to catch it. And that is going to be a brutal reminder of how these drivers really do give it their all on track.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to have a little bit of a battle on the last lap here between J. Cole, AMS, Emic and KD there. Oh, JGM has been disqualified from...
He didn't stop.
Failing. No, he didn't stop.
He didn't stop. He didn't swap his compound. There's only 13 laps. So he's going to be bottom of field. And that is going to leave no real challenge to the top of the field. Max Ring, 18 seconds clear of the field. And then Nathan is going to be getting second spot after inheriting it from James Head. We are going to see maybe KD also take the third spot if there's enough time, but we will of course see. Perfect race from that McLaren, and I think that's what we kind of missed out on in race 1.
Yeah, no, definitely. Unfortunately, had that disconnection, which was unfortunate. But there is a battle here for that P4 position, which I think KD is probably going to keep for the time being. But it's going to have to wait and see, because J. Cole is getting very, very close. But he actually could get a P3 as well, like you say, with that disconnection. So you could be right. But this could be very interesting, because J. Cole is getting very, very close. KD is going to need that DRS. J. Cole is now going to get that DRS as well. And here we go. We've got the Aston going through the Red Bull ghosting car. He's going to make a move on KD. And is he going to get the job done? He's really going to have to push and try. Push as much ERS as he can. He's coming into the last corner. Is he going to make the move? No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. He goes
very deep. Oh, there's a tap. There's contact. He spun him.
No.
He spun him.
He spun him.
And AMS Epic's going to inherit it.
outside.
There is a level of irony. There is certainly a level of irony. Unfortunately, missed the celebration of Max Ring, but yeah, perfect race from him there. He's going to be taking the top spot, and an amazing drive. He's had 17 seconds clear of the rest of the field. I know they have prior league experience, and that's clearly come to the fore, with J. Cole inheriting that P3 regardless of his teammate. Teammate had a penalty. So James Head's going to be coming in P4, Nathan P2. So a really good race from them as well. They showed their moxie for sure. And you can see the rest of the field are going to be peeling in now. As Rando substituting their F1 car for a Beyblade on the final corner, it seems.
Yeah, no. Very impressive by Nathan and J. Cole there. Nine positions and 11 positions. So really, really good job by those guys. And that concludes the race number 2 of Silverstone.
Yeah, race 2 is cleared. Interestingly, J. Cole gets the game's driver of the day on both counts. But we'd also like to ask you in the chat, who was your personal driver of the day? And to you, Golf, as well. Who is your driver of the day? Who's taking it on this one? It can be for race 1, race 2, or both of them. But who takes the crown for you?
I'd say J. Cole. Yeah, I think he was quite impressive. He was impressive in the first race, and yeah, impressive in the second as well. I think he got 2 podiums, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I'd say J. Cole in the Aston Martin. He had a really good. There were some really good battles, but a really good performance by Max Ring. Unfortunately, disconnection in the first and winning by a big margin. And those mince pies are in the post, my friend.
Well, I'm personally torn because I'm also going to say, well, it's a tear up between Max and J. Cole for me personally. Also, Epic is thrown in there too because he's had the same, if slightly lower level of consistency as J. Cole. But I honestly think we might have seen a double win for Max had he not disconnected, because we saw the amount of push he was having. I am going to give it to J. Cole, but I would like to give that sort of special mention to him. And you can see the rest of the grid here, folks. So Nathan up in P2, James in P4, Aaron in P6, Evan, KD, Danfield managing to recover a P9, so fair play to him, with Jess, Logan, Iverbrim, Mike, Rando, Byron, Kodiak, Thyman, Zatexter, and then Deathlink down at the bottom, following their DCs. But that is gonna do it. Obviously goes without saying, massive shout to all of the drivers who participated tonight. So whether you're at the top or the bottom of the field, mid-pack, started first, started last, ended first, ended last, both great driving out there today. It was nice to have something fun, something different from the rest of the field. J. Cole is going to be taking the overall win with AMS Epic in second and Max in third. But that is, say, the points tally from Connor, one of the amazing admins and directors of PSGL. So both great to have them out on track. Great driving from all. Good sportsmanship. Being willing to jump in the hot seat and say, right, you commentators, you're sitting on your high horse. You do it for a change. So great to see them all out. And also just a shout and a bit of recognition for all the work they do in getting these kind of events off the ground.
Yeah, no, 100%. I totally agree with you. It's just basically now saying that commentators can drive. So as we've seen tonight in the, I don't know if this is the first ever edition of the Comms Cup Christmas special, but yeah, it's been really good. And like, same goes for what you were just saying as well. Big shout out to all the drivers as well. May have not been comfortable in the cars, may have not been comfortable driving, but they gave it a go. And they put on a really good show as well. So yeah, big congratulations to every single one of them. And if you have missed and didn't tune in, then feel free to get on board PSGL on YouTube and press that subscribe button and get on board and watch the highlights all over again and all the action. Yeah, so very good night.
Yeah, well, yeah, certainly don't want to be missing much because we've got the F1 charity race, the All-Stars charity race. That is going to be happening same time tomorrow. So you will want to be there, folks, just because we're coming up to the Christmas season. And even with a short break, we are still having plenty of stuff on, plenty of action. So definitely join us for the charity race tomorrow. Join us for the rest of our seasons. But otherwise, that is going to be all from us in the comms box. So thank you, Golf, for joining us in the box. Where can we find you, mate, around PSGL? Where can we find you?
I do F6, but then I get moved to F4 and F3 sometimes by Jess. But yeah, I like hovering around doing. But yeah, I'm normally in F5 or F6 at the moment. But I just want to say as well, for a first time ever, I get thrown in the deep end. I have said this to Jess. I do comms with everyone, and it'd be nice to just have a consecutive run with one person. But thank you very much, Sappy, for the opportunity to do it with you tonight. Thank you also to PSGL for the opportunity as well to jump on board with the comms. And everyone else, thank you and have a great Christmas and New Year. And I will see you next year.
Yep, and as from myself as well, well, I'm not on a commentary roster this season, maybe in the future for sure, but otherwise, for now, that is all from us. Definitely stick around PSGL, make sure to follow us on all the socials, like the stream, get subscribed to our YouTube for more action, be sure to check out GT Omega, our sponsors, get PSGL, code PSGL at checkout for a healthy discount. Otherwise, we will see you very soon. We will see you either tomorrow for the charity event or in 2024. Great job, everyone. And to you in the chat, we'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside, but up here he's through. On the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.
Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though.